All right. Hey, everybody. Ren Carothers here with your Future Stars Friday forecast for this Thursday. And wow, we are just weeks away from the Breeders' Cup. Of course, I talked specifically about the Future Stars Friday card, which is November 1st. And boy, it's so exciting. Tomorrow's opening day at Keeneland. We have 10 win in your in races specifically for the Future Stars Friday card coming up this weekend in total. And it all kicks off tomorrow at Keeneland with the Grade 1 Darley Alcibiades. And in that race, we've got Perfect Alibi. She's drawn post 7. She's 5-2 on the morning line. She'll be looking for her third consecutive victory after winning the Grade 2 Adirondack and the Grade 1 Spinaway Stakes. It's kind of funny. She's one of 2 entries for Mark Casse, and his son Norm actually has a horse in the race also. And it's funny because the horse's name is Heir of Light, and it's heir as an heir apparent. And speaking of that filly, she hails from the family of Grade 1 hopeful winner Currency Swap, and she is a daughter of multiple Grade 1 winner The Factor. He won the Pat O'Brien as well as the Malibu Stakes, and she is just to Perfect Alibi's outside in stall 8. But back to talking about Perfect Alibi, who I believe they call her Allie in the stable. She's a daughter of Sky Mesa, and Sky Mesa won all 3 starts at 2 years old, including the Hopeful Stakes. And it's fun to also remember, because I think people forget, he's out of a full sister to Bernstein. Bernstein, of course, is the sire of Tepin. You can't forget Tepin. We all love Tepin. But also, Sky Mesa has already sired a Frisette winner in Sky Diva. Of course, this is the Darley Alcibiades, which is a mile and a 16th. But it just shows that he can get a quality filly at 2 years old who is capable of winning these types of races. Sky Diva did go on to be 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Now, the dam here is no use denying she is a stakes-winning daughter of Maria's Mon, who was the Eclipse champion 2-year-old of 1995. And what's also interesting about this pedigree, it is the female family of Chris Evert, who won the Filly Triple Crown, as well as the incomparable Hall of Famer Winning Colors. And so Perfect Alibi has a lovely pedigree, and she should be able to stretch out to this mile and a 16th distance just fine. She's going to actually have Jose Ortiz aboard for this go with with his brother Arad, I believe, riding up at Belmont. So moving on is in post 6. I want to talk about British Idiom. She actually scratched from the Pocahontas Stakes. She's in here. She's very intriguing to me. She's going to be getting first-time Lasix, and it's also worth noting that the runner-up in her debut score, Miss Marissa, she wired the field and scored by 5 lengths next out in a mile contest at Belmont, and she got a 77 buyer for that effort. Additionally, this filly's got really nice pedigree. She is by Grade 2 winner, Grade 1 placed Flashback. He's a son of Tappet, and he won the 2013 Robert B. Lewis Stakes and was 2nd in the Santa Anita Derby. Now, this filly's dam, Rose and Shine, she's a multiple stakes winner at Woodbine, and she's a daughter of Mr. Sakaguchi. And I can't fault you if you are unfamiliar with him. He had a very brief career, but he did win 2 of 4 starts, and the other 2 starts were actually runner-up finishes. But what's cool is that he is a son of Stormcat. Stormcat was 2nd in the 1985 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Tasso. He ran him down. And then Mr. Sakaguchi is out of a half-sister to AP Indy, who won the Breeders' Cup Classic, and Summer Squall. So it's a very nice pedigree, and there's also some, justification to liking her in the Darley Alcibiades, because her female family also includes 2014's Darley Alcibiades winner, Peace and War. So pretty neat there. But I gotta say, at prices, one's not a huge price. At 5-1, I believe she is on the morning line. That's Alondra, the 4-horse for Shug and Rosario. She has a nice pedigree too. She's coming off a debut score at Saratoga, in which she got a 73 buyer at first asking, and that was going 7 furlongs. And she should stretch. She's a daughter of 2010's Breeders' Cup Classic champion Blame. And then remember that Blame himself is a son of Arch, when I then tell you that this filly is out of the AP Indy mare Altesse, because Altesse hails from the female family of Arch. And that also includes Acoma and Althea. We've talked about Althea a lot on here, but just to refresh your memory, she was a champion 2-year-old filly. She won the Del Mar Futurity in addition to the Del Mar debutante, she won the Arkansas Derby, and she was favored in the Kentucky Derby. She didn't run well there, but still, she was a very talented horse. So very cool pedigree there. And then at 20-1, Steve Asmussen has the 2-horse 3D Flag, and she didn't show much on debut at sprinting on turf at Ellis Park, but then they switched her to the dirt. That got her the winner's circle. That was 7 furlongs, still at Ellis Park. She's a daughter of 2009's Kentucky Derby champion, Super Saver. But what really piques my interest here is that she's out of the Distorted Humor mare Color Me Flying. And so this means that 3D Flag's great-grandmother is multiple Grade 1 winner My Flag. And My Flag, not only did she win the 95 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies herself, but then she produced a Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner in 2002, the 2002's winner in Storm Flag Flying. And Storm Flag Flying went on to also run second in the 2004 Breeders' Cup Distaff. This, of course, means that 3D Flag's great-great-grandmother is Personal Ensign, who won the Distaff and is just a Hall of Famer. You know, if I'm being honest, Personal Ensign is my favorite Distaffer of all time. So I love the pedigree there. So this might be a horse that you use in your exotics underneath someplace at 20-1. And with that pedigree stretching out, I see no reason not to give her a little bit of a nod there. Now on Saturday, it's going to be the boys' turn at Keeneland in the Grade 1 Claiborne Breeders' Futurity. It's drawn a field of 10 horses. And as he did in his successful debut, which he won by 3.5 lengths, Tap It to Win has once again drawn the rail. He's one of 2 Mark Casse entries. The other one is the 5-horse Enforceable. He's another son of Tap It. Enforceable is actually a full brother to multiple Grade 2 winner Mohayman. You may remember him because he was really hot on the Derby Trail. Back in 2016, he finished 4th in the Kentucky Derby. But additionally, Enforceable is a full brother to 2013's Breeders' Cup Juvenile Champ New Year's Day. He's 15-1 on the morning line. Tap It to Win is 3-1. And this Ridgeling score back on August 24th was stylish. He got an 86 buyer for the effort. And then the runner-up Complexifier, he flattered that victory because he won next out at Churchill, getting an 83 buyer. Now this colt put in a sharp 5 furlong drill in 59-1 ahead of this trial. And what makes his potential all the more exciting is his pedigree. Again, he is by Tap It. He is out of a multiple stakes winning daughter of multiple Grade 1 winner Medaglia d'Oro. He won the Travers Stakes. He ran second in the Dubai World Cup, was second in 2 editions of the Breeders' Cup Classic, so we know we've got distance there. But what makes the Medaglia d'Oro connection all the more fascinating is that Tap It to Win's grandmother is a half-sister to Grade 2 winner Ivana Vinalat, who is the dam of 2-time Eclipse champion Songbird. And Songbird, of course, is a daughter of Medaglia d'Oro herself. She's, won multiple Grade 1 races, including the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. And then, boy, did she put in a scintillating performance coming up, just coming up short of Beholder got to her. She lost the Breeders' Cup Distaff by a whisker, but she put in such a game performance, just couldn't hold on with Beholder. But still one of the greatest fillies we've seen in recent history. So very cool pedigree there. Now, bookending the field is a colt who might pose the biggest threat here, and that's Gouverneur Morris. He scored by 9 lengths on debut. That was over the slop at Saratoga, and that might have moved him up. But we don't know for sure. This horse, this Todd Pletcher trainee, had a reputation before the race came up sloppy. People were obviously putting money down on him. But we'll just have to wait and see if the weather moved him up significantly to score by 9. Now, John Velasquez was aboard for that debut, but he'll be riding up at Belmont Stakes. So now we have Javier Castellano taking the call. As for pedigree, I mean, this was a $600,000 purchase. He's a half-brother to Final Jeopardy. Final Jeopardy is a multiple Grade 3 placed runner. His most impressive finish was probably a second to Code of Honor earlier this year in the Dwyer Stakes. But additionally, Morris is a son of Grade 1 winner and freshman sire Constitution, who himself is a son of Tappet. And these Constitution babies have been running, including fellow entrant By Your Side, who won the Grade 3 Sanford Stakes by 3 lengths. But back to Morris, his dam, Addison Run, she's a stakes place daughter of 1995's Breeders' Cup Juvenile Champ, Unbridled Song. And another reason why that's notable is that Morris's grandmother is a half-sister to another offspring of Unbridled Song, and that is 2008's Eclipse champion 2-year-old and Breeders' Cup Juvenile Champ, Midshipman. She's also a half-sister to Fast Cookie. Fast Cookie was a great racehorse herself, but she's better known for being the dam of multi-millionaire Frosted. And I gotta tell you, talking about Frosted, I still get chills just thinking about that 14 1/4 length romp in the Met Mile, which resulted in a 123 buyer. So I'm really looking forward to this race. There's more Win and You're In action on Saturday at Belmont Park. You've got the 1 mile Champagne, and that's significant because the Claiborne Breeders' Fraternity, like the Darley Alcibiades, they're both mile and a 16th, which corresponds to their respective races in the Breeders' Cup, the TBG Juvenile and the Juvenile Fillies, both a mile and 16th. The Champagne and the Frisette, which will be on, the Champagne's on Saturday, the Frisette's on Sunday, both of them are mile-long races. And not just a mile, but a 1-turn mile. So easier for some of these lightly raced horses who haven't stretched out before. But take that in mind when you are handicapping going forward for the Breeders' Cup card itself. Now, in the Champagne, on Saturday, your 8-5 favorite is the 3-horse Green Light Go for James Jergens and Stronach Stables. He's 2 for 2. He's gotten an 84 buyer in both starts. He won his debut on the front end by 3 1/4 lengths. That was at 5.5 furlongs. The runner-up, Another Miracle, went on to win the Skidmore on turf. And then last out, Green Light Go, he won the Grade 2 Saratoga Special by 3 3/4 lengths. He showed a new dimension that day, showing that he could rate. I love seeing that in a youngster. It means they have a really good mind. And the form shows Noose as the horse who finished second in that race. You should make a note, if you don't already know, that horse has been renamed Scabbard, and we last saw Scabbard in the Grade 3 Iroquois, finishing second, just beaten, what was the margin? It was 1 3/4 lengths behind Dennis's Moment, and that was after Scabbard had some trouble. So that's flattering for Green Light Go, of course. As far as the pedigree goes, he's by Grade 1 winner Hard Spun, and then his mom is a stakes-winning Grade 1 place daughter of Pleasantly Perfect, and Pleasantly Perfect won the 2003 Breeders' Cup Classic. He also won the 2004 Pacific Classic, as well as the Dubai World Cup. Now, this dam's name is Light Green, and what's kind of cool here is that prior to a 3/4 length defeat in the Grade 1 Prioris, she got a triple-digit 109 buyer, scoring by 8 lengths in the Fall Aspen Stakes at Belmont Park. So it's nice to know his mom liked that track so well that she was able to get that triple digit in. The number 7 horse, Tis the Law, is 5 to 2. And we haven't seen this son of Constitution on the track since he won a 6.5 main special weight, first out back on August 8th at Saratoga by 4 1/4 lengths. He got a 90 buyer for the effort. The Barclay tag trainee looks to be working well ahead of this trial, and he also has a pedigree that should stretch. His dam, Tiz Fizz, is a Grade 2 winning daughter of 2-time Breeders' Cup Classic champion Tiz Now. She's also a full sister to the speedy Furry Cap Curry. But what I find quite notable here is that Tis the Law's grandmother is a half-sister to 1997's Horse of the Year, which was remarkable because he was only 2 years old, and I am talking about Favorite Trick. He was undefeated in 8 starts at 2 years old, with wins in the Bashford Manor, the Breeders' Fraternity, the Saratoga Special, the Hopeful, and the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. So that's Tis the Law. I also wanted to note that I was thinking we might see Meru in the Champagne after getting a 95 buyer winning the Smoke Blackened Stakes. But George Duarte told me that they're actually going to point Meru to the Nashua Stakes. And as you can see in the past performances, they have actually entered sapling winner Big City Bob here. He's quite a price at 20 to 1. But remember, the sapling he won that at 26-1 odds. It's a 2-turn race. And so, it asks more of a horse when you have to go 2 turns with just, a few starts under your belt. And he got an 80, it's also worth mentioning, rather, that the horse who finished second in the start prior to that, All Eyes West, he got an 84 buyer running third to Meru in the Smoke Glacken Stakes. So this one might be a horse for the exotics, especially considering the pedigree. His sire Shanghai Bobby won the 2012 Champagne by 5 lengths before scoring in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and then his dam sire Birdstone won the 2003 edition of the Champagne. So maybe an heir apparent here, right? But then beyond that, the female family has some notable horses in there as well, including multiple Grade 1 winner Imperial Gesture. She was second in the 2001 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies and third in the Distaff. And then you have 1994's Kentucky Oaks winner Sardula in the pedigree. She was also second in the Juvenile Fillies. And then Met Mile winner Divine Park. So you've got black type there. And at 20-1, again, maybe a horse to use underneath in your exotic plays. On Sunday, with the exception of the the Frizette at Belmont Stakes, which is a win in your in for the Juvenile Fillies, it's all about the turf youngsters. I mean, we have got the Speakeasy Stakes at Santa Anita. It's a win in your in for the Juvenile Turf Sprint. We have the Futurity at Belmont Park, another Juvenile Turf Sprint win in your in. Over at Longchamp, we have 2 races, one for the Juvenile Turf, one for the Juvenile Fillies Turf, and those are the Cutter Prix Jean-Luc Lagardère and the Cutter Prix Marcel Bouzak. And then back at Keeneland, we have the Dixiana Bourbon Stakes as well as the Indian Summer Stakes. The Dixiana Bourbon is for the Juvenile Turf, and the Indian Summer, a win in your in for the Juvenile Turf Sprint. I want to talk about a horse there, but first we do need to take in mind there might be weather concerns, because on the forecast, while the weather looks fine in New York, there does appear to be rain on the way to Lexington for Sunday's card. I know. I don't know to what degree, if at all, it's going to impact the racing there, but the forecast looks like we need to take that into consideration when handicapping. But if everything does go as scheduled, I'm really interested to see how Wesley Ward's Kumari performs. And she's actually one of 2 fillies going up against the boys in the Indian Summer Stakes. This is a race I also want you to take in mind. It is 5.5 furlongs, but its corresponding winning you're in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint is 5 furlongs, okay? And why I say that is, while it's nice to go in with confidence having won your way into the Breeders' Cup, I don't know that the connections here are necessarily looking for Kumari to win. I think they want an honest prep out of this. But Velasquez, again, he's going to be riding in New York. He had ridden her in all her, he had been riding her, and so now Mike Smith's going to be taking the call. Now, this is what I find very interesting about Kumari. When you look at her PPs, after she blitzed her competition by 15 lengths, going 4.5 furlongs on the dirt at Keeneland, Wesley took her over to Royal Ascot, and that's where she ran second in the Group 2 Queen Mary Stakes. She was only beaten ahead by the highly regarded Raffle Prize, and this was on yielding ground. And I want to put this in perspective for you in case you don't follow the European racing. Raffle Prize, as I said, is highly regarded. She beat Shadwell Rockville winner Daye, who is coming over for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. She beat her in the Group 2 Duchess of Cambridge Stakes. And then Raffle Prize was just a neck second to the undefeated Earthlight in the Group 1 Prix Morny. And Earthlight has since won the Group 1 Middle Park Stakes, and Raffle Prize finished second in the Group 1 Cheveley Park Stakes just recently. So the fact that Kumari put in such a game performance there, whatever her buyer is compared to the boys in here, I think you have to really look at her in earnest. And back to her form specifically, after she ran over there at Royal Ascot, she came back to the States and she won the Bolton Landing by 4 lengths. That was over Abscond. And as you know, Abscond went on to win the Grade 1 Natalma Stakes, okay? And not only was Abscond in that race, but in 4th in the Bolton Landing was vast, not vast, but vast. And Vast just won, getting switched back to the dirt in the Hollywood Wildcat Stakes. So Kumari has form, and again, just a really exciting prospect there. Now, the Indian Summer goes off as race 7 on the card at Keeneland, and following it as race 8 is the Grade 3 Dixiana Bourbon. Again, it's a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. And remember, this particular race, the Dixiana Bourbon's a mile and 1/16. The Juvenile Turf is a mile. So when you're handicapping it later on, whoever wins this event, remember, you're going to be cutting back in distance. In this race, we've got Fighting CB for Kenny McPeak. He's 2 for 2 after wiring the field in the Grade 3 Anticipation Stakes at Saratoga. Brian Hernandez Jr. rides. This Colt Sire Summerfront is a multiple graded stakes winner on the turf, so this is very fitting. He also put in game performances, finishing second in the Grade 1 Shoemaker Mile, the Eddie Reed, and the Kilroe Mile. He was also just 2 lengths beaten back and forth in the Breeders' Cup Mile back in 2014. So you've got pedigree there. We also have Field Pass entered. This horse is trained by Mike Maker. The blinkers go on, as does jockey Jose Ortiz. Field Pass beat Summer Stakes winner Decorated Invader in his second start, and then he himself finished second to Fighting CB in the With Anticipation. So you got a little bit of your common opponent game going on there. But following that, he was your beaten favorite in the Laurel Futurity. So we'll see if he can come back from that. Also of interest, and this is the horse, if I were betting, I'm leaning toward, and that is Vitalogy, who Joseph O'Brien brought over for the Summer Stakes. And again, take in mind, when you're bringing these Euros over, you're bringing the Euros that you think are going to be best suited for a firmer ground over here. Obviously, the weather over there is a little less forgiving. You see a lot of races run over, yielding ground. It turned out that it was yielding ground for the Summer Stakes that day, but he put in a really nice performance. He got third, just 1 3/4 lengths shy of your winner, Decorated Invader. He got a 73 buyer for the effort, and he will now be making his first start for Brendan Walsh with Javier Castellano aboard. And again, with the fact that he handled the yielding ground well, whatever the weather happens to be on Sunday, I think this horse is going to be able to handle it. What I also find interesting here about him is that he's a son of No Nay Never, and No Nay Never was second in the 2014 Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. But another fun fact about No Nay Never is that he was a Grade 1 winner at 2 years old, as are the first 5 stallions from which he hails. I mentioned this before in a previous broadcast, but just to put that out there again, No Nay Never is by Scat Daddy. Scat Daddy won the 2006 Champagne. He went on to be 4th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Scat Daddy's by Johannesburg. He was 2001's Eclipse and Cartier champion 2-year-old. And in addition to winning the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, he won 3 Group 1s. He won the Middle Park Stakes, the Phoenix, and the Prix Morny. Johannesburg is a son of Hennessy, and Hennessy won the 95 Hopeful and was a head second to Unbridled Song in the 95 Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And then Hennessy is by Stormcat, and Stormcat won the 1985 Young America Stakes and then got caught by Tasso, losing just by a nose in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And Stormcat is a son of Stormbird, and Stormbird was 1980's top-rated 2-year-old in Europe, and his wins include the National and the Dewhurst Stakes. So that's really neat right there, just the consistency. And then you have a nice female family with this horse too, because his jam, Sylvestris, is stakes placed. She's by Super Derby champ Arch, and that's fitting because the female family includes Arch, who won the Arkansas Derby. And the family is also responsible for Hollywood Oaks winner Pattern Step, as well as 2017's Pattison Canadian International Stakes champ Bullard's Alley. So those are the races that I looked in a little more in depth. But again, we have a total of 10 Future Stars Friday specific win and you're in races this weekend. It all kicks off with the Darley Alcibiades tomorrow. You can catch the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity and the Shadwell Turf Mile Stakes on the NBCSN broadcast on Saturday that starts at 5:30 Eastern. And then on Sunday, October 6th, starting at 4:30 on NBC, you can check out the Juddmonte Spinster Stakes. That's a winning year for the Longines Distaff. Again, the Dixiana Bourbon, which is the Juvenile Turf, and the Indian Summer Stakes. All the rest of the action, you can tune in to TVG. And boy, I think it's time for you to go do your homework because you've got a lot to handicap. I will see you back here on Monday to talk about all the results. In the meantime, all the best on all your bets. And this has been your Future Stars Friday forecast.